I've been looking at a lot of the posts about high winds and what's done. People don't shoot, or there's all kinds of reasons why they shoot and why they don't shoot, and the hits they get on their targets. So I figured I was going to do a kind of comprehensive, not really, but to show the conditions that I shoot in sometimes, and how the wind starts out slight and then gets stronger and stronger as the day goes by. And the problem that I have is that here in the Las Vegas desert, we have mountains all the way around where our range is, and the wind swirls. And sometimes it'll go one way, sometimes it goes the other way, sometimes it crosses and then it'll go the other way. It moves all over the place, and it makes it really tough to to shoot. But by the same token, as long as I'm living here, and when we go out coyote hunting and rabbit hunting and that, we have to deal with the wind. So we practice a lot in, or at least I do, practice a lot in the wind. I prefer calm days, but when I know that I kind of check the weather, the hourly weather reports, and see what the wind is going to be doing. And if I have a day where it's going to fluctuate a lot, then I'll go out and shoot that day. Anyway, so much for that. Let me show you the targets. They start out with the wind about 5 miles an hour and go up to over 25 miles an hour. So I've got targets for all of those, and I'll show them to you. All of these targets are at 50 yards, so we can go from there. Now this is at 5 miles an hour. The wind is out of the southeast at 5 miles an hour. These were actually shot on the 17th of May, which is what, Mother's Day? These I'm doing right now are CCI standard velocity. Now I had already zeroed the rifle to shoot these, but you can see that a couple of places here, that's probably me. This is the wind, what little bit there is, and that's probably me. The others, pretty much self-explanatory. Now, even though the wind was 5 miles an hour, we would get gusts. And here's a prime example right there. The wind was coming at my back. It made the round rise. Same thing here a little bit. Here it rose, and then I shot again and it came the other way. So, it's moving around. It goes from back to your face, drives it down. And here's the last one at 25 or 5 miles an hour. This was a gust that pushed him down. And I would wait sometimes for the wind to do a little bit, to get a little bit of a gust, even though it was a steady 5 miles an hour at this point. This was probably 8 o'clock in the morning. But you'd have gusts that would, move the stuff around. You can see it here. How it actually moves. Here is really bad. Okay? Now, I waited around till the wind died down a little bit, and then I went out and changed the targets. Then I kind of just hung around and waited for the wind to pick up. I didn't shoot. I sat around. I had a Coke. Ate a hamburger, that kind of thing. Then we come on. These are CCI mini mags and blazers. These are high velocity, 50 yards. Neither of which will stay supersonic at 50 yards. You can see we got stuff all over the place here. This is what happens when you have swirling winds and you're shooting high velocity that doesn't stay supersonic at 50 yards. Okay? The winds were 25 plus. We had times here where that day to where the wind would get gusts up to 40 miles an hour. And like I said, it was in a circular motion. Sometimes it would be in a circle, sometimes left to right, sometimes right to left, forward, backwards, at angles. It moved all over the place. And this is the result. You start hitting, I'm just going to use this for an example. You start hitting here, and then you wait and you make a little bit of an adjustment, and you come down to here, then you say, okay, I'm going to need to wait here, and the wind's going the same direction, so you put 4 or 5, boom, 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 and then the wind shifts. You're all over the place. There's nothing you can do about it. That's just the way it works, especially when you're using high velocity. Okay? Now we'll go into another one. This was Federal Red. which was a little bit better. I could keep them a little bit closer together, especially in here where it was kind of consistent. And then we came down here where we get some gusts and it just blew it all over the place again. So this is what happens. Okay, this is what happens when you've got swirling winds that with gusts up to 35, 40 miles an hour, and this is how it works. Okay, now the wind died down again, so I figured, yeah, what the heck, let me shoot some more here. It died down to almost nothing. It was very calm. This was 4 to 7 miles an hour, and you can see that it's pretty consistent here. I mean, you know, a lot of these are me. Here's a little bit of a gust, probably hit 7 or 8 miles an hour. Same thing up here. The wind was still swirling, but it wasn't quite as high, okay? Then it went from here, it went up to 8 to 10 miles an hour. Same stuff, CCI standard. You can see here that it was really bad, okay? And you make adjustments, and you can get some of them closed. This one's way out. You know, it's in, you know, of course, here, the dead nut center. You know, it's, you just have to play with it and learn how to deal with the wind, shoot with the wind. Here's another good shot here. Here's another one. The first one was down here. The second one came in. These two were down here. I made an adjustment. These two came up. The wind picked up again a different way. They were down here. I made an adjustment, and I got it pretty close. And that's just the way it works, okay? Now, the wind picked up again. Okay, at 50 yards, standard velocity. This is where I started shooting over here. They were all over the place. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. You can still see here. The 25, it was 20 to 25 miles an hour here. But it was pretty constant, so I could actually keep my adjustments pretty well. You know, I have 2 here, then 1 here, 2 here, then 1 here. 3 here, didn't do any good. 1 down here, 2 in. 1 here, and then 1 in. 1 up here, and then 2 in. And that's the way that worked, okay? And we did 1 more, and then I'll shut up. CCI standard velocity again. Now you can see the standard velocity versus the high performance or the high velocity. Because it never goes supersonic and doesn't have that, at 50 yards, doesn't have where the sound barrier catches up and starts messing with the bullet. You can see that they're pretty standard here. This one I got lucky on. You can see here the 2 were out here. Here's a bunch of them out here, and then 1 close. These one never got close. Here's 2, and then 1 close. Here's 1, 2, and then 1 close. You know, here's 3 that were real lucky. Here's another 3 real lucky. You know, just having to wait for the little calms in the wind, like this one over here. First it was coming from my back. I said, okay. So I took another shot, and it shifted right when I was shooting. It moved me down here, and then I just adjusted with the same wind from the same direction, and I got it close. This is what we do, what I do, when you live in an area where you have mountains around, swirling winds. It's cooler in the morning. It warms up in the afternoon. It creates winds. And this is what I have to live with and deal with. I very rarely get any days that are not, what's the word I'm looking for, windy and, you know, make it difficult to shoot in. Okay? So that'll do it for this one, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments below.